And we're live. Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. And full disclosure, I do realize I was scheduled to start like an hour from now. Um, you know, I still, let me see. I'm still working on figuring out my timelines and whatnot. I think I'm probably going to do around 5 moving forward. So expect that. That's kind of on me for having poor scheduling practices. I also have to reconfigure some stuff now that I changed the camera angle. So, my computer's now down here. So there's going to be a little bit of a weird angle. But cheers, Sugar Kitty. Thanks for coming and hanging out. It's going to be a interesting live stream tonight. We are going to be getting into a backlog of needed reviews, a backlog of a few whiskeys that I haven't done a review of, that I don't think I'm going to do a full-on review, so I decided, we'll just run a live stream with it, and that is the Uncle Nearest. I've only had it once. And it's not that I have any sort of preconceived notions about the whiskey, why I didn't want to just do a full review. I just didn't feel like doing a full review of it. As well as we have a Hawaii whiskey that was sent to me by a friend. This is called Old Pally Road Whiskey. It's interesting. I have some thoughts and opinions I wanted to bring up on it, so that's what we're going to get into after the Uncle Nearest, as well as 2 backbone samples that were sent to me, with the bottle of the backbone uncut unfiltered that I wanted to get into. So let's just jump right into it. Thanks for coming in, hanging out, live stream and whatnot. Like I said, this is only my second live stream since I've been back. I want to start doing it every single week again. I'm just trying to figure out when it fits best. I was going to do 6 p.m., but I ran out of things to do. So I think 5 p.m. is going to be, the timeline in the future, but we will kind of see. I think, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time will be my future plans for times. Peter White, cheers. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for coming and hanging out. By the way, how's everything sounding, looking? Any sort of discrepancies, issues? Please let me know, as always. So, without further ado, let's just get into the first review. So, Uncle Nearest Rye. So, this is a straight rye whiskey. As far as I'm aware, they're making this themselves. Let me verify, double check. Product of Canada. Nope, they're not making it themselves. So this is Canadian whiskey, aged in New York and Tennessee, aged and bottled by Uncle Nearest Distillery, Shelbyville, Tennessee. And now that I know that this is Canadian rye, that totally makes so much more sense that this is 100% rye mash bill. So this is like another Whistle Pig. This is like, it's here. I want to go grab my go-to Whistle Pig just for comparison sakes. I like this Whistle Pig. Not a lot of people like this. I like this bottle. Whistle Pig, Piggyback, 6-year-old rye. A lot of people hate on it. I actually really like that, so I'd love to kind of see it in comparison to this bottle. So this is 100% rye whiskey. It's 100 proof, and it is around $55-ish, which seems very expensive for sourced rye whiskey, especially Canadian rye whiskey, but we will get into it. Let's see here. Ahoy, and the rest of cheers hanging. Nice to see ya. Yeah, sorry if you guys have been normal viewers and you're like, what's going on with him and all. I promise you, starting today, every single Wednesday, if not, I'll notify you, I'm gonna be live streaming 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or AZ time, whatever, at least for the foreseeable future. We will see. Maybe life will change a little bit, but for now, we're good. Ken is, yes. Yeah, what a trooper, man. Piggyback rye is solid. Yeah, I like it. I think it's a great Canadian rye. And this is Canadian rye finished in the United States. So we will see if it is any good. Already going into this, I'm very, we'll call it apprehensive, concerned with the price point as for like what it is. Because I don't know, usually Canadian rye is a little bit underwhelming for me, to say the least. And man, you can already tell like color difference. You probably can't tell on camera, but the 6-year-old piggyback is like significantly darker. And is this all their stuff? Imported from Canada. So no, this is still Canadian rye too. What is this? Probably all my Canadian rye nerds out there. Is this what, Alberta sourcing? Is that where everyone sources Canadian rye from? Why do you think Canadian rye should be cheap? I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of a lot of the Canadian ryes typically. I'm underwhelmed with them. They need high age statements for me to be into them. Except for the piggyback. I like the piggyback. But this is non-age stated and it's like piss colored. So maybe it's not the fact that it's Canadian rye. It's more the fact that it's very light colored. So that's already kind of turns me off a little bit. So yeah, maybe I'll rephrase that too. It appears to be very youthful. That would be a better way to put it. Canadian rye is good, but I think I prefer MGP. Yeah, I'm a 95.5 rye kind of guy. Canadian rye 3 is cray cray. Went off only because. All right, let's get into this. So 65, 60, 55, 60 bucks. Canadian rye whiskey. Let's get into this SOB. On the nose, it's a rye. It's super rye heavy. Holy crap. There's a lot of like, it's like a sweet, spicy hay. Sweet vanilla, like a honeycomb. Little bit of like a fresh cut grass. The hay note, not nut. Hay note. That hay note, and then this little bit of like almost a white pepper. It's extremely light, which also kind of turns me off at like 55 to 65 bucks. Many places for Canadian rye. Alberta is not always a lock. Okay. So it's just kind of dependent. Just like if it says, hey, this is sourced from Kentucky, it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Yeah, that's one of the few I need, that Canadian rye, that Alberta premium. That's the one I really like. Uncle Nearest Distillery is about 4 hours from me. Yeah, this is honestly one of the first few this is the only one I've had a bottle of, and I kind of wish I would have gotten one of their other ones just because I didn't realize this was sourced. I mean, it smells good. There's a little bit of a Sharpie smell to it, though. A little bit of a kind of like that first half. Maybe it's just my nose acclimating to the ethanol, but like instantly it's like this sharp kind of Sharpie, and then it goes into this nice like sweet hay with like a white pepper. Has this really, really floral, kind of like flowery nose to it too. Not a fan of their offerings. Okay, well maybe it didn't matter then. My piggyback story, local drugstore, headed for 45 version. Yeah, this was the Walgreens, right? Or was it another one? Marked it for, told their liquor manager, but they had them mispriced for like 2 months and they were still That's horrible. That's such a horrible price for it too. Multiple age Canadian rye, lot 40 cash strength. Yeah, that's another one I want to get. Strength 11 years, 12 years, almost kills almost. I have a double oaked heavy char. Yeah. I guess that's fair. It's one of those where just like any other subsection of whiskey, it's very dependent. So I probably shouldn't be straight up saying like one sort of, you know, whiskey style is worse than another. It's just usually a lot of the Canadian rye I've had is underproof or very young. So it's kind of, it kills it a little bit for me. But let's get into the palate of this guy. It's very floral. Floral, sweet. Hey, this kind of reminds me of that Danish whiskey, the what is it? The Stawning, the 100% unmalted barley. This cannot be very old though, because that stuff's like 3 years old. It's very grainy, youthful. It has a nice peppery side to it, but it is very youthful. I'm missing oak. All I'm getting is sweet, spicy grain. That grain presence is very, very apparent on the palate. Oh, it gets like earthy. It's like this earthy spice that I'm not digging. Sharpie is the way some people describe the mineral note of Tennessee whiskey. I thought that was like the what should you call that? The blah 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 blah. The orange. I thought that was a minerally note because that's usually what I get. That like minerally orange stuff on Dickel, like chalky orange candies. Was Walgreens? Yeah. Sells 100%. That's a $45 bottle. Old Dragon. Oh yeah, that was an incredible rye whiskey. I forgot about that one. So yeah, you're right. Canadian rye is not bad. It's just this is the color of my pee if I'm still hydrating decently okay, which is a huge problem because it should not be that color if I've had any water. Or like, I don't know, I'm used to whiskey being like this darker color where it's like, hey, that's a concern. You should drink water. But this stuff is like, this looks like a year old. Honestly, here. Okay, I mean, it's a little bit lighter than that bottle, but also I'm looking through more, so maybe it's not. Because so the next one we're about to drink, this Old Pally Road, this is 6 months old. So it's young as hell. I've had it. It's a young whiskey. Solid bones though. We'll talk about it when we get into it. But this rye, I think it needs age. This is not a product that was ready to be released. It's just, man, I have not gotten into the lot 40. I think yeah, that's fair. I think I've just had more quality MGP 95.5 rye than I have had 100% Canadian sourced rye. So that might be a better way to describe it all. I do not like younger Canadian rye either. I like MGP more as well. Yeah, so maybe MGP rye is a little bit better at being young. It holds, its youth looks a little nicer. In Canada, they don't torch their barrels at all, and they don't char them, because that would also have a huge impact too to the aging style or how fast it impacts, because a char 5 is going to impact significantly more than a char level 1 or 3, which is like kind of the industry standard. Pennsylvania rye, and the dad's hat rye was solid. I don't mind the nose. The nose now, going back, it does have like a earthy graininess to it, but it's really the palate that is just super grainy. Yeah, it has that nice spice, that dill note, a nice pepperiness, but then it gets like earthy and grainy. I'm not a buy on this one. Oh man, I feel like such an ass because I don't like giving not buys out to things. I'm a favorable person. I'm an equal opportunistic whiskey consumer. That being said, this rye whiskey, it's just too young. It needs age. It needs some oak impact. You really need to smooth off that grainy like side of this whiskey. The bones are there. The rye is there. The spice is good. The sweetness is good. It's that earthy graininess that's just like that dirt. That's not good. Yeah, it tastes like I bit like a root stem and I ate a little bit of dirt with it. Is aged ex bourbon cask. Okay. Yeah, so the age impact's a little bit, we'll call it slower, or the oak impact. That, I really need to work on the way I word things because I mean one thing, but I say something else, and then that has a different thing. Because like people always say like, oh, it ages quicker. No, it doesn't age quicker. It's just the oak impact imparts that oak flavor faster or slower depending on what methods you use. Something I'm working on. I have 3 to 4 Canadian craft rye, and it is dark as night, and the craft guys do a better rye here. Okay. Man, I really wish there wasn't the thing called like customs, border protection, so on and so forth. Just so I could be like, yo, let's hand deliver some stuff because I have some rye you want, and you have some rye I really want to try. I think I don't even need to compare it to the piggyback because piggyback, I'm a sucker for this, and this is Canadian rye. This is a really good rye. Yeah, it's sweet, spicy. Yeah. Honestly, the biggest thing is like where that earthiness is on the Uncle Nearest rye. It's replaced with like this insane like cotton candy sweetness, like this artificial sweetness. That's incredible. That is such a good rye. I don't know why people don't love that. I have the 10-year up there. Don't really care for it as much, but the 6-year-old is freaking incredible. I really like the Whistle Pig 6-year-old rye. I don't know why, but I do. It's just it hits the right amount of sweetness, the right amount of spiciness for whiskey. It doesn't drink like 100% rye. It drinks like a barely legal rye to me. But man, the sweetness and the spiciness, it's a balanced product in my opinion. Not really balanced, I guess, but like because the sweetness is super candied and the spiciness is like peppery. So it's not like the most balanced or complex per se, but like it plays against itself really well. That would be a better way. You on your rye, some people not so much. That's fair. Yeah, ryes I think are kind of ryes and malts are my two things. I need to start getting back into ryes and malts because it's been a while since I've had a rye because it's summer, and this one's kind of thrown me for a loop. Well, thank you, Hangin. If there was no duty, I would send a fortune across the border. Yeah, that's fair. I would for sure go 1 for 1 with you. Uncle Nearest rye is trash. Yes. I mean, I feel bad being so negative, but yeah, it's not very good. 10-year store picks are very good for me. Of the Uncle Nearest stuff or just of rye in general? Yeah. Peter, I trust no one more than you when it comes to Canadian rye whiskey. Mostly because, well, you live that shit. So that is a very fair um What is going on? That's a very fair statement. Let's see here. I'm doing something wrong on my end. Oh, here we go. Bear with me, guys. No, what am I doing wrong? Sorry. I'm all distracted. Forgot how to work my computer. 10-year Whistle Pig picks. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have one that my mom actually bought me from Costco, and it's okay. I've had like maybe like 2 drinks out of it. It's just, man, the 6-year-old beats it. But I have had some really, really good 10-year-old picks. So I do agree. I just haven't purchased any of them because at that price point, we're starting to look into like a $80 rye whiskey, and I pick a 95.5 Sagamore Spirits, like 7-year-old rye, over that any day of the week. Okay, next one we're going to get into because I got like an hour or so left, and I have 3 more whiskeys to review, and we've talked about one this whole time, so we'll get on to it. The next one I'm not going to talk about super long, though. The best Canadian whiskey is bottled. The best Canadian whiskey bottled in the U.S. is Found North. We don't get those in my area. I actually reached out to like whatever their company was on their website and all, and I never heard anything back because I tried getting my hands on some of their stuff, even samples. I'd be like, I don't care, like please send me a sample. I just want to try it. You guys keep talking about it, but never got in contact. Uncle Nearest Rye, Garrison Brothers Small Batch, and Winchester Double Oaked. Okay. Garrison Brothers Small Batch to me is very walnutty. I think it's still decent. I don't know if this Uncle Nearest Rye is necessarily my top 5 worst, but it's definitely a bottle I'm not going to be gravitating towards. And Winchester Double Oaked, man, I could have told you that was going to be garbage. I've stayed away from all of those Winchester bottles. Yeah. Now they're just trying to push Chestnut Farms or some shit. I had some Garrison Bros. Oh, man, Garrison Bros Guadalupe, absolutely incredible. I got it the other day for like $18 a pour. Man, that was a good get. That was an absolute fantastic get. But moving on, and I'm going to kind of try to wing this one a little quick and do this all off the top of my head. So I could be a little wrong with some of this stuff. That being said, next pour we're getting into Old Pali Road. This is a Hawaiian whiskey that was actually sent to me by one of my buds who's stationed in Hawaii currently. He's a UH-60 pilot. That's a Blackhawk for anyone who doesn't know what that is. But he did a tour of the distillery. This is a veteran-owned company that makes their own whiskey. It's 100% made there, which I absolutely love, a craft whiskey that's actually doing things craft. I don't know how much he paid for it. He hand-delivered it to me. This is 43% ABV. And it's about 6 months old. Mash bill from their website, if I remember, was 90% corn and 10% malted barley. Where they're sourcing that stuff from, I don't know, beats me, but very interesting mash bill. I don't think I've ever seen anything with that. And it's only 6 months old, so it is basically the color of the Uncle Nearest Rye. So very, very young, but let's get into it after I get caught up on some chats. To be favored in yeah, rye is not really a go-to here in Arizona because it's hot. There is no Found North in Arizona, but Cali is swimming in it. Yeah, the beauties or confusions of distribution, I don't freaking get it. I don't get it. You would think like they're, I don't know where they are, but they're somewhere like northeast, I think. So you would think they would come. If they're going to go to Cali, they would go to Arizona too, but I guess not. But let's get into this 6-year-old craft Hawaii whiskey. Oh man, this is such a vibe change from the Uncle Nearest Rye. So that has like so much spice, and this is like it's like corny, corny syrup. Like it's very sweet. There's not much going on. I mean, we also went from 100 proof to what is the proof point on this bad boy again? 43, which is super low for me. And this is one of the few whiskeys I have in my collection that's below 90 now. And it's young. You can smell the graininess off of it. But again, six months old, that's what you're going to expect to get. And from what my friend said, it's like almost always just 80 degrees there. So I'm not sure how much actual oak impact you're going to get in 6 months. Because even here in like 15-gallon casks, we're not getting an insane oak impact in just 6 months. So in theory, 1792 bib is the same thing for $60 cheaper. Oh, and Chestnut Farms. Yeah. I like 1792 stuff too. I think Barton's doing a pretty solid job. I think the rye market is growing in AZ, but still poor selection. Yeah, in time though. I think the whiskey industry, everything blew up really heavy in the name of bourbon. And Scotch has always been kind of a big name, but I think everything else is growing with it. We're starting to see more ryes coming to our area with a lot of the craft distilleries now producing their own ryes or sourcing. Delbach, you know who I'm looking at. Shame on you. You should be offended by your own self because I think you can do much better. You know, they're sourcing, they're making their own stuff, so on and so forth. As well as I think we're starting to see more rye picks, but not too many. And I think it'll just take time. 2-3 years from now, we'll start seeing a little bit more. But yeah, we're still very much so heavy like a bourbon world. Although recently I'm starting to learn maybe corn whiskey is the perfect Southwest whiskey. Because hanging, I'm not going to lie, you need to come by the distillery. We just made our corn whiskey, and that has been the only thing I have drank for the last like 2 weeks. So we just released our corn whiskey. Man, bro, that is all I've drank for the last 2 weeks. I bought like a bottle 2 weeks ago, and now I'm about halfway done with it. And I love it. 100% blue corn. I think it's like 2.5 years old. Absolutely. It's solid. It's solid. I think that is a perfect, at least summertime pour. I don't know, maybe winter things will change, but man, I'm really enjoying the heck out of it. This, on the other hand, it's youthful, it's sharp. I do like that hint of maltiness I'm getting on. It's sweet, but it has just that tab of just like malt to it. And then on the palate, it's just corn, sweetness, and a dab of malt. It's very young though. Again, a lot of those youthful, grainy notes are coming out, which expected. 6 months old, you're going to get that. I don't care where you're at. Even here in Arizona, you're going to get those youthful notes this young. That being said, I would love to see this at like 2 to 3 years. Because I do kind of like the idea of a 90-10, 90 corn, 10% malt barley, because I like that little bit of intrigue that malt is bringing. Because corn, you really have to age up to get some sort of intrigue out of it, because without age and like intensity and whatnot, you're not really going to get much more than just like grainy sweetness. But that malt's really adding an extra layer of fun to it. Yeah, just text me on the side, because I'm starting to bartend and whatnot there when we're actually what's it called, like open for business and all. So text me on the side, and we'll set something up where you can come in when I'm either there or bartending, or even if I'm not on the schedule, text me. I'll come in and I'll kind of give you the white glove treatment. off the clock. Fading early today, so much smoke in the air, need a cat nap. Well, take care, Sugar Kitty. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I appreciate you. Get that sleep when you still can. Obtanium 27-year Canadian corn whiskey, 100. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Yeah. Also, here in Arizona, at least in my area, there's like been some sort of fire or something going on. So we've actually had some smoke issues recently too. So the last two ones we're getting into these Backbone samples. So these were sent to me by Backbone. They also sent me a full bottle. They're uncut. They source MGP stuff. I like their uncut. Their uncut, it's on the sweeter side of MGP. So it's a very sweet blend of MGP, but I dug it. It's a good summer MGP pour. So I like their stuff, and I'm excited to see these are kind of their limited edition ones. So I'm excited to see how limited edition ones kind of hold up compared to that higher proof version of their stuff. Oh yeah, Sugar Kitty, I totally get you. When I spent time overseas, they don't have like the electricity over this winter to heat their homes. So they heat their homes usually by burning a lot of trash. Man, it is absolutely disgusting, that smell of just that smoke. It hurts your lungs. It like gets this like thick fog like smoke atmosphere everywhere. It's just like it's not good. Everything smells like shit because it's not like that smoke you're cooking with. Like it's not that high quality food grade level wood to smoke and burn and whatnot. It's like fire. It's plastic. It's trash. It's that like sheets of paper that have like so much plastic and ink over them that you're basically just burning that. None of that's good at all. But yeah, sorry to hear that. Hope yeah, that covers up here in a little bit for you. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So I'm in Mesa, so maybe that's what was affecting me. I don't know. I think it was Saturday morning. It was really bad. Cheers, Whiskey Wars. Nice to see you, man. Hola from Tijuana. Good question. How often do you drink a pour? I start drinking only on the weekends, but today I want to pour. It's week dependent on how often I drink, but I try to, instead of limiting myself to, hey, you can have one drink a night, I try to keep a level, because I can only drink so much in one day. So I try to keep a balance of be sober more days than you're not, or at least, that 3 to 4 dance kind of turns week to week. So last week was my birthday week, 7-day week. I drank 4 times that week. This week, I'm on track to drink 3 times that week because I usually do the Wednesday when I live stream with you all, and then Saturday and Sunday. But who knows? My biggest thing is I'm just trying to find a system that works for me where I'm not constantly drinking and I'm not clearly having like addiction level issues, because that can become a huge issue. So whatever works for you. I don't think there's anything wrong with drinking 3 times a week. I mean, clearly that's what I freaking do. So if that's what you want to do, go grab a freaking dram right now. Like let's tie one on. I mean, not too hard. So usually I just live stream on Wednesdays, so I don't get like too intoxicated. And then Friday and Saturday, it's very just dependent on the day. Like some days I'll send it, some days I'll just have like 2 or 3 drinks. Again, very dependent on how thing is. Got the smoke in South Phoenix as well. Nearly choked me out on a bike ride. Hang on, do you live in South Phoenix? Like over by South Mountain? I thought you lived over near AJ. If not, we are really close, and I'm starting to get offended that we've never actually hung out in person. Like, we'll go whiskey hunting together. You don't even have to come to the distillery. I can bring the shit to you. Or you can come to the freaking the bar at this point. I freaking have literally everything there because, well, I get discounts now. Employee discounts definitely benefit. Okay, so first one I am getting into is Backbone Big Bash. So this is an American whiskey, a blend of straight whiskeys. It's 110 proof, sourced MGP. I couldn't find any specific information on what blended whiskeys, but I assume it's a mix of kind of like bourbons and maybe light whiskey or corn whiskeys, or maybe even rye. Wow, that is interesting. I don't know. It's a blend of American whiskey. Happy birthday. In the pandemic, I drank every day. I think everyone did. Again, there are some days are diamonds, some days are stones. Love that song. But some weeks are better than other weeks. Some weeks I'm really good at it. Like this week I'm on fire. We're 3 days in and I've been doing really well keeping on track with going to the gym, going to the gym to work out, work, all that shit. Like I'm really on schedule. But like other weeks it's like, man, I'm just demotivated, and when I'm more demotivated, I'm drinking more. But I didn't have anything to do. Now I started working out 5 days a week. That's the reason I only do it. Yeah, you see, yeah, because I usually plan my rest days for Thursdays because of that, because I do this live stream and then I don't wake up and go to the gym usually in the morning because I'm a little groggy from being not hungover, but just I didn't sleep as good because I was intoxicated. But say like if I drink Friday night and Saturday night, I have all Saturday and all Sunday usually to work out. So that does not matter. And I can kind of do it on my own time. Like I'm not like stuck with like I have to wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym or else I'm not going to go that day. I am 5 days off whiskey. Does beer count? I don't think that counts hanging, but usually people are going the other way where they're off beer because it's like so much more calorically dense, and then they're more on whiskey. But whatever makes you happy in the end of the day, that's what's more important than anything else in this world. I'm walking distance from South Mountain. Z-Man is out in Mesa. Well, hang in. Come on, man. We really got to get together because I am probably within 15, 20 minutes of you then. Beer equals water. Yep, that's very true as well. Bourbon School. Cheers, man. Nice to see ya. Hope you're liking the whiskeys I sent you if you haven't gone into it. If you've released a video, I haven't noticed of it yet. I hope you're digging those. Man, this smells incredible. I mean, it wouldn't take a lot to kind of blow my mind from these other whiskeys we've been having, but man, this is like, man, that's proofy too. I'm having a hard time getting over the proof right now. I mean, it smells good though. Just proof. It's pretty heavy with the proof on this one. So it's sweet. It's fruity. It's like Nerds. Has that like pink purple nerd ropes. That's what it is. It's like the nerd ropes. Man, that's just insanely sweet. This is, man, I can get behind this. 110 proof nerd ropes. Liquid nerd ropes. We're filming on Tuesday, so we'll crack them then. That's a lot of bottles to be filming in one video. And I'll be honest, I fully expect you to not like all of them. I will consider it a win if you like one or two of them. And that's not to say like they're bad. It's just I know what your level of being into ryes and other styles of whiskeys are. So if you don't like them, none of them are very much so traditional. So don't feel bad to kind of dig in a little bit if you want to. Yeah, I did pretty solid descriptions of what they are. So like if I know, like you guys said, you're not super into rye whiskey. So if you want to pull the rye whiskeys out and try those on your own, the quinoa whiskey, that's a try on your own. That is a weird one. I think I wrote that in there. It's a weird one. I just every time I send out any of our stuff, I'm like, hey, I have to put this in because this is unlike any other whiskey I have in my collection. It is ridiculously strange, but kind of fun. Kind of fun. Ooh, that's buttery. It's buttery vanilla Coke. Oh man, that's such a weird idea. I'm thinking about melting butter into vanilla Coke right now, and it's really throwing me for a loop. Did you say quinoa whiskey? Yeah. So I sent Bourbon School some of the distillery I hand delivered some whiskeys to Bourbon School, and one of the whiskeys is it's a half bourbon, half quinoa whiskey blend. So it was blended in the barrel. So we took a 100% quinoa, and I can't remember what the mash bill of the bourbon was, but I think it was a 40-60 or a 70-30. I'm not quite sure what the ratio was again, but blended them together and then aged them together. So they aged in the same barrel for a while, and man, quinoa does some weird stuff, but a fun whiskey altogether. Got kicked from internet to commercials before your feed, Steven. Yep. Hey man, those commercials pay the bills. So, I mean, not really, but they help pay for all this stuff in here slowly over time. Man, I like that. It's buttery vanilla Coke with nerds. None of those things should go together. I mean, maybe vanilla Coke and nerds, but like butter shouldn't go with anything. Like buttery popcorn. So I just recently had what are those called? The buttery popcorn jelly beans, and that's what that tastes like. It's buttery popcorn jelly beans, nerds, and vanilla Coke all together. That sounds like diabetes, but I freaking love it. Did a blind flight on the weekend. Buffalo Trace versus ET early times. I'm assuming you're saying early times. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Buffalo Trace won for me, or BT. I'm assuming that's Buffalo Trace too. Correct me if I'm wrong. Buffalo Trace won for me the third time straight in San Diego. BT in San Diego you can find in a Target and Walmart, and early times I haven't seen a bottle in months. Salute. Yeah, Buffalo Trace is starting to get really easy to find here in Arizona. I've been picking it up at like Total Wines and stuff, super easy. It used to be like a grocery store only whiskey, but now I'm starting to see it in all like the Total Wines nearby. But Buffalo Trace has always been like reasonably findable. Not mad about the commercials. Yeah. It's okay. I hate commercials too. I just recently got Paramount Plus and I bought the commercials only edition. And honestly, commercials are kind of starting to grow on me because they're breaking between the binge. Because like it's so easy to just binge and constantly start watching things and all. But when there's that commercial break every like 5 to 10 minutes, it's kind of nice because it really pulls you away from whatever you're stuck into so hard and gives you like 60 seconds to like look back. And also because I'm trying to save money on my subscription plans. Eagle Rare. Okay. Buffalo Trace versus Eagle Rare. They're different. They're different flavor profiles. I think Buffalo Trace is such a great summer pour. In San Diego, you're kind of hot right now too. So I totally get what you're saying. Buffalo Trace is everywhere. 24 at Walmart now. Yeah, Buffalo Trace is ridiculously easy to find. I mean, they had that huge switchover with their distributors, like 6 months back. So maybe that is an impact. Like I said, we found a bunch of Buffalo Trace when that happened, but maybe now they're starting to at least release their normal Buffalo Trace product, because I don't think that should be any product that's hard to find. That Weller Special Reserve, those two should not be hard to find at all. And from there, as you obviously get up in like premium, like those should be a little bit more limited per se if you want. So like I'm not surprised if I never see a Stag Junior, but at least show me the Buffalo Trace, because that's my go-to camping whiskey, party whiskey, because almost everyone loves it, swim whiskey. Like that's just my go-to summer goings out whiskey here in Arizona, at least. And I love being able to just go to the freaking store and buy it for like $25. Man, I do not know what the price on this boy is, but this is fantastic. This is Nerd Rope, Cherry Coke, and buttered popcorn jelly beans. Because just butter popcorn freaks me out. What are you watching on Paramount? Right now, I'm starting to watch the Navy SEAL show. I'm a few episodes in. It's solid right now. I mean, there's always going to be, we'll say, contextual issues I have with any military-based TV show, but so far it's probably one of the better ones I've seen out there. We're breaking a hundo now, so it is officially summer pour time. Yeah, I feel like since I've been home, it's been nothing but summer pours. I've been drinking a lot of lower proof bourbons. Like I said, I am halfway through the last like 2 weeks. All I've pretty much drank has been a little bit of Woodford Reserve, a little bit of an Elijah Craig, because I have a handle of Woodford and a handle of Elijah Craig right now that I'm working on. And then my distilleries. So the Aventurous Stills Blue Corn Whiskey, which is just 100% blue corn. I think it's like 95 proof, the one I'm talking about at least. Man, I had like half a bottle of that. It's such a great sip and pour. Hello world. Hello, whiskey world folks. Hey, nice to see you. How are you guys doing? Did you guys go early, by the way? Or was it just me? Like, did I forget what times? Because I thought I was going at 6 when I left, but I knew I always went like right after you guys, and I saw you guys started at 4. So I was like, oh crap, I'm off on my timelines. And then I was like, I would much rather start at 5 anyways. And then so I just kind of like shotgun this at 5. So were you guys early? Was I early? Let me know. So this last one we're going to get into is Backbone. Here, let's see if I can get let's get announcer voice. Backbone Bourbon. No, too much. Backbone Bourbon Anniversary Edition, Decade Down Uncut Straight Bourbon Whiskey. So this is their 2021 batch that they sent me a sample of. It's 110 proof, and again, it's an MGP blend. Let's see. Yeah, so I think this is like kind of like a special edition version of their Uncut series. Go at 6, but we went long. Unfortunate junk food conversation, but I like it. Oh, hell yeah. I love when these things go long. Normally, I'm supposed to go about an hour. We are cusping. Oh, I guess we're only 50 minutes in, but we're going to go over an hour on this one. They always go over an hour because things just, even here, like even being alone, but with other people, it goes even more down the drain of like, oh, things just kind of spiral out of control. But like, things just kind of happen in conversation. Like we went down a conversation rabbit hole of Canadian rye whiskey that I wasn't anticipating today, where I was just trying to review Uncle Nearest Rye, but it was actually very informative and kind of made me think about the way I say things, because sometimes I think things and then I say things, but what I say doesn't mean what I'm trying to say. You get the gist. Okay, but yeah, so you guys went at your normal time. So yeah, I need to start going at 5 then, because I usually go right after you guys, or like right when you're starting to wrap up your thing. And I set mine for 6, and I was like, that seems off. I'd much rather start at 5, so I just ripped it as is. William Reynolds. William Reynolds, cheers. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for coming and hanging out. How do you feel about Wendy's spicy chicken Pringles? I'll be honest, man, I don't eat out. And when I do eat out, it's not Wendy's. I'm in this process, and so that'll bring me back to my whole what I've been drinking thing. So I've been drinking my local distillery's juice, which I get severe employee discounts at this rate. So they have now become we'll call it a budget friendly quality pour for me. And then I have two handles, and that's what I've pretty much been drinking for the last like 3 weeks because I'm really trying to save money, and that kind of goes way out the window when you start eating out, even at Wendy's. Although saying spicy chicken Pringles, like chips. So explain to me what a spicy chicken Pringle is. Like, is it a spicy chicken chip? Because I'll be honest, I freaking love spicy chicken. So like that Nashville hot chicken, those spicy chickens, like chicken with buffalo sauce, absolutely incredible. I love the pizza Pringles, so I can't imagine like a Nashville hot chicken style Pringle is not good. But then you also brought Wendy's into it, so I'm really confused with what the Wendy's spicy chicken Pringle is. So explain to me, and I will share in theory what my thoughts are about it. And I'll get very serious, like if I had this before, even though I clearly haven't tried it. Ooh. Man. Dude, this decade down version of the uncut, this is the shit. I have no idea how much they charge for this, but this has oak to it. There's a body, there's a little bit of a nuttiness, a graham cracker. Those typical, like, this smells like 8-year-old MGP. I can't imagine it's 8 years old. It's probably more like 6 years old, but it's like, this is a nice age. Like, this smells like a really, really good single barrel MGP pick. Like, this reminds me of that Doc Swinson's MGP pick I have. Man, holy crap. Man, I wish they sent me a bottle of that. That's much better than the normal Backbone bourbon. Yes, I have never had them, but Ben would sell a kidney for more of those Pringles. So, okay, so they're spicy hot chicken Pringles, like buffalo, Nashville hot chicken. Which I'll be honest. So I came from Georgia. The other like a few months, or I was in Georgia for like about a month or so, and I just got back like a few weeks ago, and that's the one thing I miss. Like everything here in Arizona is like Mexican, Hispanic themed, like Latin American food, or it's like Tex-Mex and whatnot. I miss those like Nashville hot chicken themed stuff because I ate out a few times when I was over there. And man, I had some like a Nashville hot chicken pizza that was like way better than a barbecue chicken pizza or like a barbecue ranch pizza. I freaking crushed that thing. That was so good. 8-year MGP is about perfect. Yeah, I don't know if this is 8 years, but this smells like a really well done MGP pick. Again, yeah, non-age stated, straight bourbon whiskey. I'm pretty sure it's a blend of things. It's 110 proof, which is my favorite sipping proof nowadays. Here, oh yeah, I got the autofocus on now, so you guys can look at that bad boy for yourselves. Here, I'll spin it around so you guys can read the words for a sec. Ooh. Man, I love the close-ups on this camera. That is beautiful, that little bokeh effect. And it's going to transfer to my face. Maybe. Let me make sure it focuses properly. There we go. Heck yeah. Man. I love that camera. If you guys don't have a 1.4 aperture camera, that's what you also need to get for your basement upgrade. Or fix, if you'll call it that. Which, you know, sorry about your guys' basement. That kind of sucks that you're out of a bar. I love bourbon too and all the channels, but these junk food conversations are a great diversion. Well, yeah, that's what happens. We all start talking about whiskey, and then from there, things kind of splinter off. Like I could talk about a lot of different things. Like get me going. Camera model, I am looking. So yeah, here we go. Just another camera or just another fucking splinter, which I just another beep splinter. Hope I didn't just peak the audio. Sorry, guys. This is a Sony A6400 with a Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4 aperture lens that I'm currently rocking with. If I could go back, I would just buy. So I would buy the Sony A6600 with the aperture lens because it would have built-in IBIS, so image body image stabilization, whatever that's called. I hope I'm not boring everyone who knows nothing about cameras, but and I know like very minimal stuff just so I can do this whole YouTubing things. But when you're doing like B-roll and all that, stabilization really helps. So I have a gimbal and whatnot, but that's also things that aren't really required. It sucks big time. Yeah, that's horrible. I watched your whole video on everything and I was like, man, one, I'm very jealous of your bar because currently I'm using like my office is my YouTube studio / bar. So I'd really love to get something that I can really permanent set things up with, which I will in the near future, or semi-permanent, if you will. But yeah, I'm jealous of your setup, but also like I'm really not jealous of the flood. What happened? Was it just kind of like a natural disaster flood? Because I'm not really tracking what happens outside of Arizona, or was it like a pipes burst, things like that? Either which way, that sucks. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's just well done, MGP. Yeah, that is. It's fruity, sweet, nutty. Has a little bit of like an almondy nutmeg flavor to it. Man, I like that spice on there. That spice is really kind of adding an extra level of dimension. Heavy rain, it's a problem in the mist. Oh, yeah, that's fair. We don't have basements in Arizona, which is ironic because I feel like in such a hot climate, a basement would really help. Because like we're not really worried too much about rain, not as much as like some other places are. But like we could really use the sub basement or whatever where things are a little bit cooler. Like when I was growing up, we had it was like an in between house where the door is ground level and then you kind of walk halfway down a staircase, like a half of a normal staircase, to get to the first level, or like we'll call it borderline almost basement, and then you walk up another half steps from the door entrance to get to the second floor, or whatever you want to call that. And I always remember the halfway down, which is kind of like a basement, but it's only like halfway down in the ground. That was almost always like a cooler area of the house, no matter how hot we had the AC running or how cold we had the AC running. It was always a little cooler, which really helped in the summer when the like AC naturally, died on us because it's AC. Split level, yes, I really like that house. I like that style of house. What is this about quinoa whiskey? Email me back. I'll hook you guys up because it's very in tune with what that email was about. So when you guys hit me up about that, we'll get that squared away. I'm excited. If you guys are into it, obviously. I mean, if not, give me honest feedback about what you like, and I can also make that happen. That being said, these two, the only buys of the night. Yeah, come on, autofocus. Do your freaking job. Are you gonna... Here, let's change that. Maybe that'll There you go. Maybe it's too much on it. These two, big buys. So Backbone Bourbon Decades Down or Backbone Big Bash, 100% a buy, like without question. I really like these two samples. These are some of the better MGP single barrel type stuff or like limited editions I've had in the last few, we'll call it months, probably months. Again, that's a blanket statement. I should probably compare things before I say things out loud, but just off a taste, I'm really enjoying both of these bottles and I would 100% pick one up. I wasn't very blown away by the normal Backbone Uncut, but these two I really like. Like they stepped up their game on these two. The original Backbone, I think it's going to serve as a really good kind of summer high proof pour because it's very on the sweet side for whiskey, which isn't always my go-to with bourbon for like super sweet whiskey. But again, Buffalo Trace isn't really my go-to, but it has a point in the summer, and I'm sure that's gonna kind of rear its head in the summer when I want something that's cash strength, but also sweet and approachable. So I'll get some use out of that bottle. Koval put up a quinoa as well as a bunch of other grains, all drain pours. Yeah, I don't think quinoa is a whiskey to be making whiskeys out of, but we're also a craft distillery that's very focused on being adventurous and chasing adversity and like doing different things. So we like to try different stuffs, and not all of our releases are absolutely incredible, but we do have a lot of, for a craft whiskey, I've never seen a craft whiskey with as many limited edition releases as the things we do, just because we really focus on single barrel releases. Like we have a bunch of different limited edition single barrels that we release, probably like a brand new one every few months, which is insane for a craft distillery at our rate. Like I can't exaggerate that enough, but or not exaggerate, but explain that enough about like how much we do different things. But that's one of the few things I really love about it. And you get to try things that you don't know, like quinoa whiskey. That's not a really good one, or I don't want to say it's not really good. It has a very interesting flavor profile. And the specific one I have, to me, makes a really good, hey, try this bottle, or a really good, we'll call it exciting mixer. It's kind of like a jalapeno green chili whiskey to me. It really brought out some green chili stuff that's really funky. We call those split levels. My basement is completely underground. It's nearly cool down here, even in the summer, but I still have it run AC down there to cut the humidity down. Yeah, that's fair. I would do the same. Speaking of summer pours, what's in your flask for summer activities? So recently it's either that Buffalo Trace or that blue corn whiskey from my distillery. Like I said, I've been drinking a boatload of that blue corn whiskey, so it's this stuff. Oh, maybe I'm not halfway through it. I might have over-exaggerated that. I'm probably about only a third way through it. Oh, come on. Oh, here, bear with me. I need to adjust the spot focus. There we go. Yeah, this stuff. This is freaking incredible. Blue corn whiskey. Really enjoyed that. You work at yes. Yeah, right now I'm kind of part-time, but I'll be moving full-time in the near future. Yeah, I think it's so corn whiskey to me, I'm not sure it could be a really exciting thing in some place like Kentucky or whatever, but I think in the Southwest aging style, it really has a point because some of my favorite Texas style whiskeys are all corn whiskey. So like here, I got all my corn whiskey nearby. So like Texas aging or Southwest aging, because Arizona is very similar to Texas in that sense. You get a lot of oak and like those tannins from the oak really, really rapidly compared to other places. So you can't really age like here in Arizona, at least where I work, we won't age anything probably over 3.5. We have a 4-year-old bourbon that honestly, just fiscally, the amount of angel share at the end of the 4 years made it not a smart financial bottling in the sense of like it was really oaky. So it was kind of a very niche kind of bottle to actually be selling. And the angel share just kind of ripped a lot of the whiskey out. So I think so a lot of the corn, very sweet. So the corn really, that sweetness really balances out that heavy oak impact. So a lot of the stuff like, so Balcones, this is absolutely fantastic. They're true blue stuff. This is one of the cash strength ones because if you're going to do anything, do it in cash strength. That's how I go. I like the Balcones blue corn. I like their cash strength stuff. This one's an amazing pick. That's the second one of those I've had. Iron Root Hubris. This is probably my personal favorite for a corn whiskey, like a Texas style corn whiskey. That's just Iron Root stuff's hard to get. And then, like I said, Blue Ridge, the one I work for, I really like them. I'm always looking for more, but seemingly a trend has been a lot of my favorite Texas, we'll call corn dominant whiskeys, because I really do love a lot of the Balcones malts and whatnot, but a lot of the corn, so like the bourbons, corn whiskey, so on and so forth, I really like those 100% corn whiskeys. And I think the Southwest aging style just really goes good into that. Was the corn whiskey aged in new uncharred or used charred? So it's neither. So it's brand new charred American oak. So this was brand new number 3 charred American oak. And I think we used 15-gallon casks, maybe 30. And this stuff was aged for 27 months. And it is fantastic. It is my favorite bottle we have produced as of yet. Absolutely love it. Well, that's what I do best. That's what all the whiskey tube does best, because I'll watch people like, Bourbon Note. They'll try something. I'll really like their opinion of a bottle, and then I'll go to buy it. And like some of their most recent one, they talked about it was time capsule bourbons, which I'm thinking about doing an idea or doing like a very similar video, like I'll call it like a bottles or bourbons I would like to bunker or something like that. I don't know. That's just kind of a thought. I recently just watched it like 3 hours ago or so. But I liked the idea of it, and you guys brought up those Makers wood finishing series. My Costco has had those 375s for like $75 for a minute, and I've kind of been putting off buying them. And now I think because you guys brought it up, I'm gonna end up buying those. Not anytime, maybe not soon, because again, I'm still trying to save money. I'll probably buy them in July because they've been there for like months. They're going to be there for a few more months. But man, if you guys like them, because you said a lot of really good things about those, I might have to buy one of those 375 packs. Look, us whiskey tubers do that really well. I believe corn whiskey legally has to be aged and used, charred or new uncharred. Now I'm even more interested knowing it's new charred. Huh, I didn't know that. I mean, the TTB approved it, and it's definitely not used oak, because it would not be, for 27 months, it would not be this dark in used oak, and we wouldn't use uncharred oak. Huh. Hey TTB, if you're watching this, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no affiliation with my current employer and this podcast. That is all. That being said, Bourbon Note, email me. I'll hook you up, buddy. Because yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Oh man, there was something else I wanted to bring up before I was gonna sign off, and then I'm running out of things that I'm aware of that I was gonna talk about. Again, I'm just coming back. I'm shaking off some cobwebs tonight with the whole whiskey. I got some really fun, interesting whiskey kind of live streams planned. I want to get really heavy into the comparing whiskeys to each other. So like doing more like blind fights, things of that nature, or putting mono e mono. Like I really want to put a whiskey up against what's it called? So I just recently got the old style, what's it called? Oh man, Jesus Christ. Old style Jack Daniel's bib, like the old Traveler's exclusive version. And by recently, I got it like 2 months ago, but I haven't actually made any content with it. So I want to put that up against the new one to kind of do like a fight against each other, some other stuff. I got some interesting things planned and things I want to go ahead and try. But that being said, I mean, I think we're a little over an hour here. I got nothing more to review at this moment, as I'm completely caught up in all of my reviews currently. Within reason. Man, those backbones are good. I blended them together and they're still incredible. I know. So does anyone else do that where you just pour different whiskeys together? Maybe not so much like Cavalier like I did, just because they were really solid MGP bottles. So I just kind of dumped them together. But I think that's a really interesting concept of just blending whiskey. Would anyone like to see me start doing those more often? Maybe I'll do like some more live streams where I just try blending two different bottles together to find out what's the best version of that. Because that sounds fun to me. I don't know, I want to start focusing on doing some weird stuff, like stuff that a lot of other whiskey channels don't constantly do. Gotta separate myself from everyone else, if you will. That being said, I've gone on long enough. I can't remember what else I was going to bring up. So I'm just going to wrap it as is. Thank you so much for hanging out, sitting with me today. I'd watch weird stuff. Yeah, I watch weird stuff all the time. But thank you so much for coming in, hanging out. Again, moving forward, I will be doing a live stream Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Which is currently what Arizona's kind of going off of. So I'll be doing 5 p.m. moving forward in theory. Currently Wednesdays. Again, I'll be making a pretty significant life change within the next month or so. So things might change from there, but at least for the next month, expect that, things are going to kind of stay on that sort of Wednesday track line. So I'll be here moving forward. So come and hang out. It'll be fun. Review wise, Uncle Nearest Rye is a straight up borderline drain pour. Do not buy it. What a freaking waste of money. Old Pale Road, I mean, it was a free whiskey to me, so I can't really make any sort of thoughts. I really like the bones, but it's way too freaking young. Southwest Aging Style, man, you got to make some corn whiskeys because that stuff is freaking fantastic. Backbone Bourbon, man, they do some good stuff. They do good stuff. Their normal uncut, it's solid for the price point they're charging it at. I think it's good. But these limited edition ones that they sent me as well, man, those are freaking fantastic. That being said, again, this is a wrap. So thank you again so much for coming and hanging out. This has been a fun day. We will see you guys next week. Cheers, y'all. We'll see you later.